All right, so in this video, we're going to talk about how we are multiplying decimals. And just as all the videos that you've seen, or maybe this is the first one that you're looking at, there are so many different ways that we can multiply decimals. And I'm going to be presenting to you a couple of different strategies for a few reasons. One, so that you can really understand what's going on with the numbers, and two, so that you can really focus on a strategy that works best for you, something that you understand the most. The hope, though, is that in using all of these different strategies, you really can understand what we're doing with the numbers, how we're breaking the numbers apart, what the numbers actually represent. Just a couple of reminders as you are watching this video, don't forget that you have the opportunity to pause it, rewind it, and even rewatch it at any point. It's always going to be available to you. Also, take really good notes and jot down a couple of questions along the way so we can discuss those when you come back to class. So we are going to model this problem, 2.6 times 1.3, and we're going to do that by using base 10 blocks. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the number 2.6, and I'm going to represent the number 2.6 using base 10 blocks. So I know that this is hundredths, but this is actually going to represent one whole. Here's two wholes. And now since we've got two wholes, now I need 6/10. So each one of these strips represent 1/10. So we have 1/10, 2/10, 3/10, 4/10, 5/10, and 6/10. And remember, these represent a tenth because they're 1/10 of a whole. Okay? So now I've gotten 2.6 represented using my base 10 blocks. And now the goal is I want to multiply 2.6 times 1.3. So now I'm going to kind of go the other way, and I'm going to model 1.3 going in the other direction. Well, this one right here already represents one whole. So now all I really have to do is I have to represent 3/10. And what I'm going to use again is I'm going to use my base 10 strip. So this represents 1/10. And I'm going to put it at the bottom because this represents 1. So let's pretend this isn't here for a minute. We're going to just focus. So this is 1 and 1/10, 1 and 2/10, and 1 and 3/10. But we need to kind of complete the array. We can't just do a little bit of it because we're multiplying here. So we're multiplying 1.3 to 2.6. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of fill in the rest of the array here. Now, before I continue, if you take note, if I try to use 1/10 here, what happens? It kind of goes past the last strip here, and I don't want that. So instead of using a 10th strip, what I'm going to use is I'm going to use these little cubes. And these are going to represent thousandths. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use these to fill in the rest of the array. All right, so now as I'm finishing this, I just want you to kind of take a look and think about it for a minute. Think about what you might notice. Think about what I might do next. Think about how we might get the solution to this problem based on this model that I have now created using the base 10 blocks. So I have two holes here. And then I have a bunch of 10th strips. And then I have these little thousandth cubes. What I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of combine some of these things together to hopefully make some more wholes. So I'm going to start with these right here. So over here I have 6 tenths. And this is going to be a little hard. I'm going to just squeeze this up, move this over. Okay, so here I have 6. And if I add 4 tenths onto 6 tenths, I'm going to get, if you said it, 1 whole. You're right. So now I have 3 wholes. So I have 1 whole, 2 whole, 3 wholes. Now let's take a look at what I got here. I don't think there's enough here to make 1 whole. So I have 1 tenth, 2 tenths. Let's see what I can do here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So there's 3 tenths. And if you look here, you don't really have enough left to make another tenth. So if I take a look at what I got now that I've kind of combined everything, I have 1 whole plus 1 whole plus 1 whole. Remember, all of this makes up a whole. Then I have 3 tenths. And then remember, these represent thousandths. And how many of those do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I have 8 thousandths. And now if I add all of those together, you get 1, 2, 3 wholes, 3 tenths plus 8 thousandths. And that is your final solution. So that is how we multiply decimals using a model.